Hello everybody and welcome to the next race review for the 2024 British Touring Car season. With me is my good friend Ben. Say hello.
Hello!
And today we're going to be covering this past weekend's racing at Brands Hatch Indy. A couple of things to point out. First and foremost, we had a lot of racing. There was a lot of good racing, overtakes galore. So as such, we have cut out a lot of the dilly-dallying with a lot of overtakes. So there is actually a lot more than we have mentioned here. Just as a heads up, this may be a bit longer than usual. Second thing is, and I think this goes without saying, thank you very much for your continued support, as goes with every single video that we do. And also don't forget that we do have a British Touring Car playlist for this season for all the race reviews in case you miss any. Now, new rules came in with full force and they came out fighting. Now we had some really good racing, and as a result it meant that everything got thrown out the window from Donington. Forget what you know, basically start from scratch, which was great. Now we're going to cut qualifying down a little bit after the first round that we did. So we're going to mention like who got eliminated and things like that. And then obviously we'll get onto the pole time and things like that as well. So we won't kill too much time with that one. So the Group 1 eliminations were Doble, Taylor Smith, Osborne and De Leon. Group 2 eliminations were Moffat, Smiley, Sumpton and Halstead. Q2, which is the second part of qualifying, saw some shock eliminations including Jake Hill and Tom Ingram, which was very surprising. And obviously we have the finale, which is the Fast 6. When it did get underway, it was Colin Turkington who came out on top, with Adam Morgan making it a BMW 1-2 and Dan Camish rounding out the top 3 ahead of Ash Sutton in 4th. So your pole time for Colin Turkington was 47.875, Morgan literally half a tenth back, and Camish another 16 thousandths of a second behind him. Moving into race 1, it was a great start by Turkington to lead the field away, with Sutton getting a great start to get past Camish, with Cook also looking up the inside of Camish, but he didn't quite get there. Watson on the soft tyres managed to get past Rowbottom along with Ingram, however Rowbottom managed to fight back. This was the first time that the soft and medium tyres were going head to head, and what we thought was a straightforward fight between the cars turned into an overtake bonanza as cars were fighting left and right all throughout the field, not just at the front. Sutton managed to get past Morgan for second, with Camish also trying his luck later in the lap, but to no avail. However, on lap 3, Camish got his man, with Cook putting pressure on the BMW as well. Morgan, though, had his hands full with not just Cook but also Watson as he tried to get round the outside and got forced out wide by the BMW. Later on lap 5, Hill tried to get past Ingram, but he held firm and managed to stay ahead. Morgan's race, though, got worse as 2 became 4, with Watson, Rowbottom and Ingram all fighting to get by Morgan, all 3 successfully doing so within a matter of meters thanks to the hybrid boost. This was closely followed by a mini Napa scrap as Camish and Sutton went head to head, with the soft shot Camish coming out on top in this particular battle. Further back though, we saw the Morgan scrap turn into an even feisty one as Hill relegated Morgan, then watched on ahead as Watson, Ingram and Rowbottom fought hard for 5th place, which was very exciting to watch from the sidelines and from a spectator point of view. However, what was exciting soon turned ugly as Morgan got in a Hyundai sandwich with Chilton and Pearson. Morgan defended and moved to the right, not knowing that Pearson was there, and put both into the barrier, forcing Pearson to pit with damage. Pearson came off worse as he took the main hit of the barrier with his car. Then the drama decided to hit the front on lap 9 as Camish was the first to get a puncture and as such had to pit for repairs. 2 laps later and it was De Leon's turn to get a puncture too, which didn't look great for anyone that was running the soft tyres. Lap 12 saw Watson get past Rowbottom for 4th place in a move that didn't look like it would stick, but it did. 2 laps later, on lap 14, we saw Josh Cook attack Sutton for 2nd and nearly made it pay off as Sutton defended hard, putting Cook onto the grass, but luckily it didn't give both cars much damage and they were able to keep going. However, 2 laps later, Cook got his man as Sutton went wide out the last hairpin. That was enough to put Cook on the inside and get Ash into turn 1. Hill managed to get past Rowbottom for 5th on lap 18. The same lap also saw a sense of deja vu as Moffat got ahead of Huff for 9th place, just like he did at race 3 at Donington. However, no one could stop Turkington as he romped his way to a dominant victory with Cook and Sutton rounding out the podium. So your race 1 results are as follows. Colin Turkington was your race winner, along with the fastest lap. Josh Cook was second, with Ash Sutton in third. Then we had Andrew Watson in fourth, ahead of Hill, Rowbottom, Chilton, Ingram in 8th, Moffat in 9th, and Aaron Taylor-Smith rounding out the top 10. Over to you for race 2, Ben.
Yeah, so race 2 was quite hectic. I've cut a few bits out, but I've kept quite a lot in still, so bear with me on this one. So, Turkington had a really great start. Hill tapped Cook, like going into the first corner. Cook managed to hold it, luckily, so he didn't spin out, which would have been quite bad. He then chased down Hill for second place, and as they were doing this, Turkington just got a nice gap and just left the field. Lap 2. Sutton now caught up to Cook at this point, and Hill managed to get past Cook, and is right on Hill's back bumper. So basically at this point, Sutton has got past Cook and is right onto Hill as well, and he looks ready to pounce. Lap 4. Hill gains a gap on Sutton at this point, as Turkington is nearly 2 seconds ahead of them completely at the head of the field. And Ingram now starts slowly gaining position. At this point he's up to 5th. Lap 6. Hill and Sutton have a nice battle going on, as Sutton has now caught up to Hill again. Sutton finally gets past Hill, going into the hairpin with a nice little overtake at the start of lap 7. Then Cook gets past Hill at the end of the lap as well. Lap 8. Hill loses even more places at this point, with Ingram now getting past him, and he drops down to 8th. Lap 9. Hill's car now starts going wide quite a lot, and it seems at this point that his tyres have dropped off because it just seems like he's not got much control anymore. Lap 13. Ingram is on the back of Cook. He taps Cook and gets through, with Cook keeping close right behind him. Lap 14. Chilton catches up to Cook and seems ready to get past him, but then Huff catches up to him, so he has to defend. This gives a nice little gap. Lap 16. Hill crashes into the gravel at Druids, and this brings out the safety car. At this point, it just looked like he just suddenly came off, so I thought his tyres had dropped off completely. No, it turned out his steering had broke. As you can see on the in-car camera that he's spinning his wheel, it's just doing a full 360 like a broken arcade machine. Luckily, it happened at Druids, to be honest, where the gravel trap is, and luckily it's not one of the quicker parts of the lap. Could have been scary if it was anywhere else, to be fair. So this, like I said, brought out the safety car. Lap 17. Watson has to have a pit stop because of the damage on the front of his car. Luckily, he got out just before the safety car and was able to go back and join the back of the field. On lap 19, back to racing. The pack goes for it immediately, with Huff now getting the black flag for bodywork, and this will drop him down the field. Then on lap 20, Cook also got the flag for bodywork too, and he had to come in the pits and sort this out in his car as well. On lap 21, Sutton and Ingram having a really nice battle for second, as Morgan now starts to gain up the field. He gets past Cook easily at this point in the straight and goes for it. On lap 22, Ingram uses his hybrid to catch up to Sutton. Sutton defends well and holds the position for now. On to lap 24, Ingram sends it on the inside of Sutton. This is amazing of it. Really, really good. If anybody just wants to go back and watch one thing for a weekend, I'd probably say watch this overtake, because he just went for it. And he does that going down the hill, full send, straight past him. There's no mess. It was a really good battle. And then they also keep the battle going for the rest of the lap, and it's really nice to see both going at it, properly going at it, round the lap, with Ingram managing to then hold second towards the end of the lap. It was brilliant to watch. Lap 26, Sutton and Ingram have enough hybrid for the last 2 laps, and they use this to keep their battle going at this point, as Morgan is starting to still reel them in. Last lap, Turkington has a massive lead at this point, which gives him the win. Sutton and Ingram have a little tap going towards the end. This causes Ingram to barely keep second. Sutton manages to get third barely, but Morgan was really not far behind him. So your winner is Colin Turkington. Second is Ingram. Fastest lap and third is Sutton. Fourth is Morgan. Fifth is Rowbottom. Sixth is Chilton. Seventh is Camish. Eighth is Moffat. Ninth is Doble. And 10th is Aaron Taylor-Smith. Over to you for race 3, Brad.
Thanks, Ben. So it was Ronan Pearson, who got pulled from the hat, and as such he started on pole, but when the lights went out it was Aaron Taylor-Smith who got the better start, jumped into an early lead with Pearson and Doble defending from the chasing pack behind. However, whilst all eyes was on the pack behind, with Hill and Ingram coming through the field, it was Pearson who put an aggressive move on Taylor-Smith's Vauxhall to move back into the lead. Lap 3 saw Sutton move ahead of Rowbottom and hounding Morgan for 7th place. Behind that was Ingram, Turkington and De Leon, all scrapping for the top 10 places. However, despite De Leon getting ahead of Turkington at the end of lap 4, it was short-lived as he got passed by Turkington, Watson and Huff over the coming laps. Sutton managed to get past Morgan for 7th place, with Robot and Ingram also getting by on lap 6. Pearson, meanwhile, was loving life at the front as he pulled out a stable gap and kept holding it. Camish managed to get past Doble to be the best medium shot car in 5th place on lap 8. However, 2 laps later, it was Doble versus Ingram. But there was something wrong with Ingram's car as smoke started showing, but he managed to keep ahead of the Vauxhall in 7th. But his worst nightmare came true as he got a puncture and as such dropped down the order and out of the points and had to pit. To make things even worse for Ingram, Sutton moved up the order once again as he got by Camish for 4th place and was now hunting down Chilton for 3rd. Lap 13 saw Hill manage to get past De Leon for 14th place and easily up into the points positions. 2 laps later we saw Moffat retire his car as the boost pipe fell off, as we later found out, and as such, no boost, no engine power, car's gone basically, and he was out of the race. 1 lap later on lap 16 we saw Doble have deja vu as once again he took on his former teammate for 7th place, with Turkington waiting in the wings, and within the space of a few corners Doble dropped from 7th to 9th as Watson then Turkington got past him, with Huff waiting to drop the Vauxhall further down the order. Despite what De Leon did early in the race, his usual bad luck carried on as he retired on lap 17 with what looked to be a technical problem. Lap 20 saw it all kick off at the front, with Chilton putting a feisty move into turn 1 on Aaron Taylor-Smith, which forced him wide on the run to the hairpin, allowing Sutton to get past him as well and move up into the podium places. Aaron Taylor-Smith did try and fight back, but unfortunately could not do so. However, no one could stop Ronan Pearson winning his first ever race in the British Touring Car Championship in dominant fashion, no doubt, ahead of Tom Chilton, which made it an Accelerate 1-2, with Sutton rounding out the podium, making it 6 podiums out of 6 races for Sutton. So your race 3 results were as follows. Ronan Pearson was your race winner ahead of Chilton and Sutton rounding out the podium. Taylor-Smith was 4th ahead of Camish, Rowbottom, Watson, Turkington, Huff and Morgan to round out the top 10, with Tom Ingram scoring the fastest lap down in 18th place. So, after 3 exciting races, what does that do to the driver standings? Well, surprise surprise, it puts Sutton at the top of the table by only 2 points from Turkington, who's on 93 points. Ingram drops to 3rd with 85 points, plenty ahead of Jake Hill, who's in 4th after a bad day for him. Josh Cutt was 5th with Aidan Moffat 1 point separating the 2 teammates. Then we saw Tom Chilton jump up to 7th ahead of Dan Rowbottom, Dan Camish and Adam Morgan to round out the top 10. So overall, Ben, from this weekend, who would you say are the winners from the weekend?
Definitely Colin Turkington. Definitely Sutton, Mr. Consistent, it seems, this year. Ronan, you can't not give it to him, really. That was really good on him for the last race. I'd say them are my main ones, really. Ingram probably as well, for like race 2 especially. That battle with Sutton was really nice to watch.
Yeah, I'd say I think BMW did relatively well. Like you said, Turkington made the best of a bad situation, and we know Turkington's good in terms of consistency. He has done that for quite a while. Same with Ingram. For me personally, this is a bit of a bizarre one, but I would have to say that the main winner isn't a driver or a team; it's the rules. So all these new rules that have came into effect, the fact that there's 2 different tyres, the fact that obviously the hybrid system, the boost system, which was obviously in place from round 1 anyway, everything just came together this weekend for racing. And I think if we get more of this at Snetterton, Thruxton, which can be a bit of a daunting challenge, but that's usually decent, On the other tracks the rest of this season, we're going to have one of the most exciting seasons we've seen on record since 2018, I want to say, with the amount of race winners. I think we could easily see... I can't see us matching how many race winners we got in 2018 versus this season. But what I can see happening is quite easily seeing that I think we've already topped the entirety of 2023 with the first 2 rounds. Like, granted, yeah, Ingram's won 2 races on the bounce, so's Turkington. But the fact that Moffat managed to hold them off, the amount of overtakes that we got, the amount of racing we've got, and I hate to say it, Paul O'Neill called it just before the season started. Despite the fact we've only dropped to 20 cars, which isn't great, I know, I still think we've done exceedingly well. I think we've got better racing this year already, probably thanks to like the hybrid system and everything. But realistically, this season's already come up. It's already off to a cracking start, and in terms of the championship, it's just wide open. Anyone can win it. I think. Would you agree on that, Ben?
Yeah, definitely. I think the Jack Sears could be interesting this year as well. That could be something where it could actually come down to somebody doing something interesting. Independent this year won't be won by Josh Cook, so that could be interesting to see who actually could go and take that. There's not many people who are able to, so you never know. There might be a lot more like things what people are going for this year than sort of meets the eye if you look at it as every other season. This year there's actually more things open for people, so let's see what happens at the end of the season and going forward, really.
Yeah, exactly. I think all eyes will be going forward to Snetterton and seeing what happens there. And we know that the BMW is good at Snet. We know that the Ford and the Hyundai are good at Snet. Sorry, all the cars are pretty good at Snetterton. So
maybe not the Seat.
Maybe not the Seat as much, but yeah, in terms of what we're going to see at Snetterton, hopefully more of the same. I think as well, the Indy circuit being as small as it is, had a bit of an advantage in terms of the hybrid deployment, because shorter runs, shorter laps, that sort of thing. But it was I'd say the amount of racing we had was more like what we should have got at Donington, but obviously with Donington and being wet and so on, yeah, it was a bit all over the place. But really glad we got to see some amazing racing. And as such, on that note, we're going to hand this over to you. So what did you make of the racing at Brands Hatch? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let us know down in the comments. I'm probably expecting a lot of yes, I did like it very much. More, please. Please let us know down in the comments as per usual. What did you think? Did you like it? And as always, like I said, we will be back in about a fortnight's time for Snetterton, the annual visit to Norfolk. And hopefully we'll see even more great racing and more of a championship fight over there. So on that note, thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a great day, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. And until the next race review, catch you all again later. Until then, ta-ra.
Bye.